let's take a look at creating a very crude Space Invaders game. I do File, New Project, and I'll call this Space Invaders. And we won't put all the fine parts of Space Invaders into this, but let me go get some images. Oh, there's some right there. I guess I'll go with that one. And you can right click on this and say copy. It's just copy. You can also do a print screen and capture the entire screen if you need to. Let's go to paint.net. Now I realize there's more than one, and I'll paste in a new image. I did edit, paste in a new image. There's more than one Space Invader on the game, but we're just going to go with one. So let me copy this. You don't want to make your square too big, because we're going to do collisions with rectangles. There we go. Edit, copy, and I'll do an edit, paste in a new image. Now this is way too big, so let me do image, resize, and I'll change this to 50. Let's see what that looks like for the width. Yeah, that'll be good. And now I'm going to zoom it. So I click the little plus here to zoom in. So I need to put that pink in there. So do more and choose 255, 0, 255. And do my paint bucket and click that. And click in here, I guess. There we go. Now let me take it smaller and see what it looks like. Yeah, that'll work. It's not as clean as I'd like to be. There's a little bit of black there, but sometimes when you got that, you can click it again to take it another degree. This package doesn't seem to do that. I think Photoshop does that. Okay, never mind. I'm just confusing the two packages. And that'll be our invader. So let me save that. Do a file save. And go to pictures and choose invader. There we go. Okay, now let's see what other pictures I have. Space Invaders, images. This one might not be too bad of a picture. View original image. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. Now I need to capture the ship here. So I can right click and say copy. Go over to paint.net and do an edit, paste into new image. There we go. And I want to copy the ship now. There we go. Do an edit, copy, edit, paste in a new image. And what I make this? I made this 50. Let's see what this one is. Image, resize, 125. I'll make it 75. And click OK. There we go. And that'll be my ship. So I'll say File, Save, and I'll call it a ship. I didn't make it transparent, did I? Put my pink in there. Paint bucket. There we go. Now let me save it. Okay, now I need a bullet. And that bullet's fine right there, actually. So I should already have that. Come back over here. And zoom. Find my bullet. There's my bullet. Zoom a little bit more. And then I'll grab this bullet. Again, you don't want it to be too big rectangle wise. That'd be good right there. As good as I'm gonna get anyway. Edit, copy, edit, paste in a new image. And that size probably isn't too bad. So let me save that. Actually, I need to adjust it for transparency. So I need my paint bucket. And click over here. There we go. And do a file save, and bullet. A PNG. Okay. Now I'm ready to import those in. So I started a new project over here. On the content in the Solution Explorer, I'll right click and say add existing item. Choose my pictures, and I want my bullet. I want my invader, and I want my ship. There we go. I'm going to click. What I did is I held down my control key as I selected all three of these, and I'll click add. Now all of them will have asset names corresponding to bullet, invader, and ship. So, and that's fine. Okay. First off, let's start with the invaders. Then we'll go back to the rest. Excuse me. I'm going to say texture 2D and invader. And then I'm going to say rectangle. Then I'll do a bracket, rectangle, bracket, comma, bracket. This is going to be a multidimensional array where I have rows and columns. And rect invader. Okay. So let's come down here in the load content, and I go after the to do here. I guess I don't need this anymore, so hide that. And invader equals content dot load texture 2D invader. And for our rectangle, I'm going to say rect invader is equal to new rectangle bracket, and then I'll do rows by columns. Rows 4 or 5 by 10. Now helps to actually spell rectangle correctly. So let me go back there, set that. Instead of hard coding 5 and 10, let me come up here and I'll set a variable. I'll say int rows equals to 5, and int columns is equal to 10. That way I can easily change it instead of hard coding it down here. So this will be rows and columns. Now that creates an instance of our multidimensional array, and now we're going to populate it. So I'm going to do for int I'll say r is equal to 0, and continue while r is less than I have to think this through, less than rows. So I'll go from rows is 5, it'll go from 0 to 4. Yeah, that'll be right. And then r++. And I'll say for int c for columns equals 0, and continue while c is less than columns, c++. I'll put my curly brackets, and here's where my main code's going to be. Now what this does is this is a loop. It'll keep looping through. First time through, it sets r equal to 0. And this is what it checks. It'll keep doing this loop until r is less than while at r is less than rows. And then after each one, it'll increase r by 1. That's what this r++ does. So first time through, r is equal to 0. Then second time through, r is equal to 1. Then r is equal to 2. R is equal to 3. R is equal to 4. When it hits 5, r is 5, then that's not less than rows anymore, because rows is equal to 5. And this is how you'd loop through. And it's always the same. If you're dealing anything with the rows and columns like this, these look exactly the same everywhere in your program. Well, then down here I'm going to say rect invader R comma C for rows and columns dot width is equal to invader dot width. So I'm setting the rectangle's width the same as the image's width. And rect invader RC dot height is equal to invader dot height. And then rect invader RC dot my X position. Now my X position corresponds to my columns. So I'm going to say equal to, and I'll start out with 50 times columns. Or 50 times C, I should say. So that'll change each time. First time through, C is equal to 0, so it'll be 0 times 50, which is 0. Second time through, C is 1, so it'll be 1 times 50, or 50. And so forth. And then I'll do rect invader RC dot Y is equal to 50 times R. And that'll correspond to my rows, hopefully. We'll see if that's correct. Now I'm going to steal this bit of code right here. I'm going to highlight it and right click on it and say copy, because I'm going to use it down below. So now let's go down to our draw. We've got our Sprite Bash dot begin. We've got our Sprite Bash dot end. And then here's where our for loops go. And I'll do a Sprite Bash dot draw and invader rect invader color dot white. Okay. Now I didn't put curly brackets around this because this is just one line of code. And it didn't like something. Maybe it does. I just need to run it. Let me try it. I guess not. What's wrong? I've done some invalid arguments. I forget something. Probably did. Let me delete that. Store it over. Okay. Texture 2D. Invader. Comma. Rectangle. Destination rectangle. Oh, I know what I did wrong. It should be rect. Invader. Then bracket. And then R comma C. And color dot white. Now what this is going to do, this is a loop through all of our rows, this will loop through all of our columns, and this Sprite Bash here then is going to write it out. And analyzing. Okay, continue execution. And they're a little bit too close together. But notice I have 5 rows, and I should have 10 columns if I add those together. So 50 is not quite right. 60? Let's try 60. See what that looks like. Yeah, that's not bad. I could tweak it some, but that'll work. Okay, now our goal is to have them move. So, and to begin with, we'll have them moving to the right. So I'm gonna come up here and come up with a new variable, and I'll call this string direction, and that's going to equal to right to begin with. And of course, it's going to either equal right or left. Then down here, again, I'm going to copy this, because those are my main ones I use anytime I do anything with my aliens. I'm looking for the update. Here's the update. Down here, I'm going to say we're going to always our characters are moving. So I'm going to say have my for, and then I'll put in a beginning curly bracket, and I'll put a closing curly bracket, because I think I might have multiple lines of code here. I say if and direction dot equals right. Did I have it all uppercase? I don't remember. Then I want to move everything to the right. So I'm going to change their position. So I'll say rect invader dot, or bracket r comma c dot x equals to rect invader r dot c dot x plus 1. Okay. There's our characters moving. Now when they hit the right side of the screen, we want them to turn around and go the other direction. So that's what we need to put in there now. So I'm going to have up here, I'll have, and you can declare variables within these procedures. You don't have to do it all up above. Right side is equal to graphics device dot viewport dot width. Okay. And I'll do the left side too, just to be consistent. Though it's a 0. Okay, so we're moving our character to the right. So after we get done moving all of our characters to the right, what we want to do, this is moving all of our aliens. Check to see if any have gone past the right side. So we're going to need to do our for loop again. I wonder if that's still my... Yeah, it is. Okay, good. Like I say, we'll use that over and over. Okay, so I'm going to check each alien, and I'm going to say if if any of the aliens have gone past the right side. So I'm going to say if rect invader rc dot x value plus the rect invader dot or rc dot width is greater than right side, then I'm going to say what am I going to say? Direction equals to left. So to go to the left. Well, that by itself won't actually swing them around. I have to have up here on my if statement, I'll say if direction dot equals. I could also do an else there, but just trying to. I know some of you may be learning programming same time you're seeing this, so. But it's going to be pretty much the same code as the other one, except for we're going the other direction. Dot x minus 1. Okay. Now I also need to check for the to see if it's gone over on the other side. So here I'll check if rect invader rc dot x is less than 0. No, wait a minute, 0. Left side. Then direction is equal to right. Okay. What are we checking here? Well, we got our aliens. Like this. And the x position is this right here. So when we're referring to the dot x, that's right there. What we want to check is we want to see if the right side of the image has gone past the right side. So all this right here is your width. So what I'm checking here is I'm saying if the rect invader dot x plus the width is greater than right side, then it's gone off on the right side, and I need to switch it around. Now I don't need to do that on this other side, because if my aliens go into the left, all I need to check is this side. So you always have to worry about the width on those. Let's see if it works. That's kind of the key. I can sit there and justify it all day long, but if it doesn't work, then it's no good. Okay. That looks good. Okay, well, we got something else. As the aliens go from left to right, when they hit the side, they're supposed to move down. Those aliens are kind of big, aren't they? But anyway, you'll get the idea. Maybe make it more challenging to begin with. Okay, so if we hit the left side or the right side, then we need to move everything down. So different ways you can do this. I'm going to do it just as straightforward as I can. String change direction. And initially I'll set that equal to no. Now down here in our if statement, I'm going to put curly brackets around those. There we go. And if we change direction, and I wanted to set change direction equal to yes. And same down here. So I'll say change direction is equal to yes. Okay. Now it's still got a little green squiggly here. It says a variable change direction is assigned, but its value is never used. Well, that's not quite true. It doesn't know if it's used or not, but it's used down here. Okay. So down here, then I'm gonna say if change direction dot equals yes. Then I'm gonna do a beginning curly bracket, closing curly bracket, and I'm gonna need to loop through all my aliens. So I'll do this for loop again. There we go. And I need to change the Y position. So I'm gonna say rect invader r.c.y is equal to rect invader r.c.y plus 1. Okay, so let's run this and see if it works. I'm doing this step by step, and that's one way people like to program, though. They'll just change a little bit of it and then see how it goes. It's moving down so little, it's kind of hard to see. Instead of 1, let me change it to, I don't know, 3. That might be too much. Okay. There, significantly, not significantly, but definitely you can see it moving down more. Okay. Well, we need to put our ship on there now, and our ship's got to move back and forth. So let me come up here, and our texture 2D invader, what do I call it? Ship. There we go. We need a rectangle for the ship. Now, there's only going to be one ship, so I just do a normal rectangle here. This is where you got a whole bunch of them together, multidimensional array. Come down here. I want to load in my ship, so I'm going to say ship equals to content dot load texture 2D ship. And then I'm going to say rect ship dot width equals ship dot width. So I'm setting the width of the rectangle same as the width of the ship, and the height is going to equal the same as the height of the ship. And then I'll say rect ship dot x is equal to 0, and rect ship dot y is equal to 400. I don't know where it should be, but we'll see. Then down here, not within the for loop, but separate, I'm going to say Sprite Bash dot draw, and then I'll say ship rect ship dot color dot white, and let's run it. Yeah, that's probably not bad. Maybe down a little bit more. I'm hard coding it. You could do it based upon the dimensions of the screen, which is probably a better way, but just keeping it simple. There we go. Down a little bit too far. 25. Part of the benefits of doing it that way, such that if our screen changes, it's not hard-coded anymore, and you can adjust it based upon what the screen looks like. Okay. Now let's move our ship. So I'll come up here to our update section, and let me put some comments on this one. If direction is changed, then move aliens down. Okay. Now move ship. We're going to have keyboard state KB equals keyboard dot get state. If KB dot is key down, keys dot left, then my ship, rect ship dot x equals rect ship dot x plus 2. 3 might be a little bit more entertaining. If KB dot is key down, keys dot right, rect ship dot x is equal to rect ship dot x plus 2. That should be a minus. Let's change that to 3. There we go. Now let's run it. Okay, so there's our ship. We can move our ship left or right. Now we can move it off the screen, which isn't good. But I'll actually leave that for a modification to this. Okay, now our ship's moving. We need a fire button. So we need to add our bullet. Okay, so come up here, and my texture 2D. I have bullet. There we go. We need a rectangle for it too. It's not gonna. We're gonna have one bullet. You don't have to, but so there we go. And we're gonna tackle this a little bit at a time. So our first thing is just well, let's draw the bullet on there when necessary. Well, we need something to keep track of. Do we need to show the bullet? So I'll say string bullet visible, and initially I'll say no, it's not visible. So I'll come down here to my load content, and I need to load my bullet in. So I'll say bullet equals to content dot load texture 2D bullet. I'll say bullet rect bullet dot width is going to be the width of the bullet dot width, and rect bullet dot height is going to equal to the bullet height, and rect bullet dot x is equal to 0, rect bullet dot y is equal to 0. Okay, we don't really care about setting that equal to anything. It can be there to begin with. Now down here in our draw, we want to have an if statement to see if the bullet's visible. So I say if bullet visible dot equals yes, then I want to draw the bullet. That says, hey, the bullet's visible, we can draw it now. Rect bullet color dot white. Now, to begin with, if I run it now, I shouldn't see the bullet, which I don't. Okay. Well, what's going to trigger the bullet appearing? Well, that's going to be if they push a button. Let's do F for fire. So I'm going to say if kb.is_key down, or spacebar. What am I thinking? Keys.space. Then we will make the bullet visible. So I'll say bullet visible equals to yes. Okay, so let me run this and just show that. Okay, so now I'll press my spacebar. See how it appears up in the upper left-hand corner? That's not where I want it. I want it to be right above my ship, more or less. So, besides making it visible, I need to set the X and Y location of it. So I'm going to say, I'll do a beginning curly bracket here and a closing curly bracket. If you have more than one line of code within your if statement, you have to have those curly brackets around it. I'll say recBullet dot, and here's kind of the tricky part. Dot X is equal to ship, or rect ship dot X. And the Y position. recBullet dot Y is equal to rect bullet dot Y minus the well, let me start there. Okay, so let me run it now. Okay, move my ship. If I press my space bar, my bullet appears right up there. That isn't where I expected it to be. But oh, I see why I didn't do rect ship here. Okay, now let me run it. Now this isn't going to be what we want, but I want it to start off this way. So I'm right here, press my space bar. There's my bullet. Look at where it's at my X position wise. Well, it's at the very left of my image, isn't it? I want it exactly in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I got the X position plus my width of the ship. So width divided by 2. Now that might give us decimals, but let's try that and see. Okay, so press my space bar. It's not quite as good as I'd want. Oh, -2. Let's try that. It has to do with the width of the bullet, why it's appearing that way. Maybe -3. Okay. Now, if I truly wanted to get it precise, then I'd take the width of the bullet and divide by 2. Now, I may have to add that. I'm not sure about that. So this may have to be, instead of a minus, may have to be a plus here. But let's see. Nope, that looks perfect. But the Y position isn't good. We don't want it to be the. We want the bottom of it to be the bottom of the bullet be at the top of the ship. Now I'm either going to add or subtract the height of the ship. And I never can get this right. I always just try one and see if it worked. If it's not that one, then it's the other one. So let me try height. Now you can sit there a long time and think about it, or just try one. So come here. It's almost a little bit too high, isn't it? Let me think of this. The Y position of the ship minus the... Oh, I don't want the height of the ship. I want the height of the bullet, I think. Let's try that. Yeah, that's more like it. It might be better if I was down 2. So let me go -2. Oh, not -2, +2. Because remember, if you, as you're going down on your screen, the Y values are increasing. There we go. Yeah, that's probably not bad. Okay, if the bullet's visible, then I want to actually move it on the screen. So if the bullet's visible, so I'll say if bullet visible dot equals yes. Yeah, you can use booleans on these, make the code look a little bit slicker. But again, I'm just these beginning programs just trying to keep them fairly straightforward as much as they can be. So if it's visible, I want the bullet to move. So I'll say bullet or rect bullet dot y is equal to rect bullet dot y minus 5. Okay, so let me run it now. Press my space bar. And there's my bullet. That's not bad speed. Okay. Now, if my bullet hits any of the aliens, then I want to kill that alien and kill the bullet. Make sure the bullet doesn't keep going through, because it shouldn't go through like all 5 or 6 aliens and kill all of them. It should just kill one, and then the bullet should become invisible. So let's start off checking to see if our bullet has hit one of them. So, and let's see, down here I'll say check to see if bullet has hit an alien. This one was if bullet visible, then move bullet. Okay, now I need my if statement here for all my this is the same, not if statement, it's for statement. What am I doing? There. Need that. Same one we use for all of them. Okay, so I'm going to loop through all my bullets. We're going to have to modify this a little bit. I'm going to put a beginning curly bracket and closing curly bracket because we need more than one line of code in here. Because there's another piece to it that we're going to add after we get the bullet done. We're going to say if the rect bullet dot intersects, and then I'll do a beginning parentheses, and I'll say rect invader RC dot, or yeah, RC. That means a bullet has hit one of the invaders. That means I'll put a curly bracket, closing curly bracket. I want to make the bullet invisible. So I'll say bullet visible is equal to no. Okay. Now really the only time we want to even check this is if the bullet is visible. So I can do an if statement up here saying if bullet visible dot equals yes, then I want to do this for loop. Okay, so let me run it now. I press my space bar, and when my bullet hits an alien, then you notice the bullet's disappearing, which is what I want it to do. Bullets don't want are alive. Okay. Well, besides putting the bullet as invisible, we want to kill the alien. So we need something to keep track of which aliens are alive and which ones aren't. So up here, I'm gonna for our we have a rectangle. I'm going to have a what will I say? String isn't the best way to do it. It's not the most efficient, but I think it'll be easiest to see. So I'll call this Vader alive. Now initially, we want all of our invaders to be alive. So Invader alive RC is equal to yes. Okay, the invader's alive. Now I need to declare the rectangle or the multidimensional array here too. I'll say invader alive equals to new string rows, columns. Okay, let's come down here, and when we go to draw our aliens, we need to check to see if the alien's alive. So I'm going to have an if statement here. If invader alive RC dot equals yes, then I want to draw that alien. Now, if a bullet hits it, then that alien's just died. So I'm going to say invader alive RC is equal to no. And RC refers to whatever row and column we're dealing with. Okay, so I come here. Now, let me show you the next thing. Oh, I'm checking. It's hitting aliens that are dead. So I need to fix that. Okay, so if bullet's alive, it comes down here, checks it if it intersects. Well, I only want to check to see if it intersects if that alien's alive. So I'm going to say if invader alive RC dot equals yes, then we'll do the check. Now, notice how I'm indenting these. It just makes it much more readable. So this is checking to see if the alien's alive. If the alien's alive, then we're checking to see if it's hitting a bullet. So let's now run it. There we go. Okay, now watch as it comes from the left-hand side. See, it's not coming anywhere close and it's advancing down. That's because we need to put the check in there to see whether the alien's alive or not, on the whether it's hit the left side and the right side. So I'm going to come up here, and this is where we're checking it. So I'm going to say if the alien's not alive, we don't even need to check it. So if invader alive dot equals RC dot equals yes, then we'll actually check this. So let me do a curly brackets here, and I'll come down here and put a closing curly bracket and shift every one of these three. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, oops, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There we go. You're going to find by doing your spacing like that, even though it's kind of pain sometimes, and a lot of times adjust it for you, it will make your life so much easier. What doesn't it like there? I don't know. Let's run it. Well, it really doesn't like something. What am I missing? Oh, I'm missing a closing parentheses. There we go. There we go. We'll get there eventually. I was not very good at this game. Okay, that's working like it should. Now I guess I ought to check the right side. Part of writing the game is to testing, which is kind of a pain. It's like playing a incomplete video game, one with bugs. But you have to make sure all of your features are working. Now, one thing, okay, there we go. And that part's working. Well, it's allowing me to push my button and then or my space bar and then pressing it immediately again and killing the bullet. That's not what I want. You can only push the space bar if a bullet's not visible. So let me come down here where I'm checking the space bar. So if it's space bar and I'm trying to think what the and is. I think it's 2 ampersands. Let me try that. And bullet visible dot equals no. Then let me push that. Let me check that. Good. I'm pushing a space bar over and over, but it won't let me start a new bullet until the other one's dead. Okay. Now there's the next thing we need to tackle. See, the bullet's gone off the top of the screen, but it's not allowing me to fire any new ones because the bullets keep going up. It's probably negative 10,000 by now, but okay. So if it goes off the top of the screen, then we want to make the bullet invisible. So I come down here. If bullet has gone off top of screen, make it invisible. So I'm going to check if we want to check the bottom of the bullet. So we're going to say if the rect bullet dot y plus the rect plus or minus. I think minus, but I'm not for sure. Minus rect bullet dot height is less than 0, then it's gone off the screen. So we'll say bullet visible is equal to no. That means we can fire again. So I come up here. Okay, it goes off screen, and I can fire again. But it's going off screen too early. Yeah. Instead of a minus here, it should be a plus. I could sit there and I could draw pictures and wrap my mind around it, but it's so easy just to try the minus, and if it's not the minus, it's obviously the plus. So let's try that. Yep, that's how I want it to work. Okay. Now we've set our aliens moving. We've set them for visible, where they're live, or whether you shot them or not. If any of the aliens touch our ship, that's where we're going to end our game. Okay. So again, that's here. So I'm going to say check to see if game over. So I'm going to loop through all my aliens. So I need this right here, that for loop. And then I want to check, do curly brackets, closing curly brackets. I'm not sure my code yet. I'm going to check to see if the alien is visible to begin with. So I'm going to say if invader alive RC dot equals yes. That means the space invader is visible. I want to check to see if it's collided with my ship. So I'll say if ship wrecked, if wrecked ship dot intersects, and then rect invader RC. So if it's, then game's over. So I think it's this dot exit. And my alien's going kind of slow for that to happen. So let me come up here. I want to create a new variable for alien speed, or invader speed. So I'm going to come up here and say int invader speed equals to 3. And where am I moving my aliens at? Right and left. So right here, instead of 1, I'm going to say invader speed. Now they'll move kind of fast now, but that's okay because I want to check my code to see if when they touch my ship, if my ship dies. And actually, I think I just don't want to touch. I think if a ship comes down past my, now that I'm thinking this code through, because look at this. If I leave it like that, those aliens are never going to touch me on the right side. Slow. 3 was too slow. There we go. Right at this point, those ships look like they're about on the same level as my ship, or those aliens are on the same level as my ship. So the game should be over. So it's not touching; it's whether they're at a certain level. Now I'm gonna come down here. Where to put that at? See if game over. Okay, that's not what I want to check. I want to see if any of them are below the top of my alien. So I'm going to say, I have to think this through, if that particular alien, rect invader rc dot, oops, or comma, c, dot y is greater than, and then my rect ship dot y it's not quite right either. I want this plus either the height of the ship plus the height of the ship or minus the height of the ship. I have no clue what I want, so let me do rect ship dot height. Actually, the height of the alien, I think, is what I want. Rect invader rc dot height. Then the game's over. So this dot exit. Let's try that. Now again, 3's too fast. I'll be sitting there forever waiting for it to come down. So I'm going to come up here and change my speed to 7. That should be better. Oops. Guess I better shoot some of these. Okay, now they shouldn't touch me. There we go. That looks like it's right now. Now, I do want my speed to be back like 3 or something like that. Okay. Now, you can control the speed here. You can, down here, it doesn't really matter the order on these. I started out with 50. What did I start with? 5 rows, 10 columns, 50 aliens. So down here I'm going to check if I need to count how many aliens are alive. So count is equal to 0. Now I'm going to loop through with my same code. And I'm going to say if rect, what do I call it? Alien alive, invader alive, invader alive. If invader alive dot equals yes, then I want to say count is equal to count plus 1. Okay. Now when it gets down to check to see if half of aliens are dead. Okay, well I'm going to say if rows times columns divided by 2 is equal, and that's how you do an equals, 2 equals, is equal to count, then I'll say speed is equal to speed alien speed. What do I call it? Alien or invader speed? Invader speed is equal to invader speed times 2. So I increase the speed of it twice fold. Guess I ought to start shooting some, huh? I don't know if that increased or not. Well, let me say instead of times 2, let me change it to times 50. I know that'll change. Okay. So rows times columns divided by 2. 50 divided by 2 is 25, so 1 equals count. Of course, there's a problem with that. Because then, I know it didn't work. Let me show why. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I don't know. Lost track. It's not just not even getting to that code, is it? This should be going super fast at this point. What's wrong with that code? If rows times columns, rows, columns, 5 times 10 is 50. Divide by 2. Divide by 2 is equal to count. Count up here, I'm checking to see if they're alive. That's equal to 1. This is assuming it's even getting down and counting them correctly. That's a big if. Okay, well I'm going to tackle this a different way. If count is greater than this, and I'll put parentheses around rows times columns. So if count is greater than that, invader speed is just invader speed. If a count is greater than Less than 4. Let me see. If it's 50 divided by 4, it won't give us a integer. Still might work though. Invader speed is equal to invader speed times 50. Let's try that. And what doesn't it like? It increased your speed so much that the game ended no time flat. What's wrong with my count? My count is wrong up here. Count is equal to count plus 1. Checking to see if the invader is alive. Okay. I'm going to click over here and put a little red ball. I'm going to go into debug. So I choose debug, start debugging. And then I can put my mouse over these and see what these are all equal to. Count is 0, rows is 5, columns is 10. So my if this isn't working. For our int R is less than rows, C is less than columns. Ah, I see what's wrong. So I do a debug, stop debugging, and I'll click the little red ball over here. This up here should be RC, like that. Okay. And get rid of some of these. There it went. Super fast instead of 50. So say invader speed plus or maybe just invader speed is equal to 6. Let me hard code it. That'll increase it. Now I don't necessarily want 2. Let me put if it's 3. So if I there we go. Super fast. Ah. Oops. There we go. Obviously, I have no coordination. There it goes. Okay. So that shows you how you can adjust your speed, and you can do different variations of this. I hard coded 6 because I didn't want to take time to do it right. That's kind of a sloppy way to do it. But that's your beginning of your Space Invaders. Now, I'm going to have some modifications to this that I'm going to assign. I wouldn't ask you to come up with one of these on your own. They're kind of challenging, but you see you build it piece by piece. I started off with just writing aliens to the screen, then moving them, and then took it step by step. And you could keep on improving this. You keep adding this little piece, and then add this little piece, and then finally get it to where you want. You have to keep playing with it, adjust the speed, and get everything perfect. That's a start of Space Invaders.